The Factories Act 1948, Act No. 63 of 1948, Chapter IVA. Provisions relating to hazardous processes. 41A. Constitution of Site Appraisal Committee. 1. The state government may, for purposes of advising it to consider applications for grant of permission for the initial location of a factory involving a hazardous process or for the expansion of an such factory, appoint a site appraisal committee consisting of A. The chief inspector of the state who shall be its chairman. B. A representative of the Central Board for the Prevention and Control of Water Pollution appointed by the central government under Section 3 of the Water, Prevention and Control of Pollution, Act 1974, 6 of 1974. C. A representative of the Central Board for the Prevention and Control of Air Pollution referred to in Section 3 of the Air, Prevention and Control of Pollution, Act 1981, 14 of 1981. D. A representative of the State Board appointed under Section 4 of the Water, Prevention and Control of Pollution, Act 1974, 6 of 1974. E. A representative of the State Board for the Prevention and Control of Air Pollution referred to in Section 5 of the Air, Prevention and Control of Pollution, Act 1981, 14 of 1981. F. A representative of the Department of Environment in the state. G. A representative of the Meteorological Department of the Government of India. H. An expert in the field of occupational health. And I. A representative of the Town Planning Department of the state government, and not more than 5 other members who may be co-opted by the state government who shall be I. A scientist having specialized knowledge of the hazardous process which will be involved in the factory. E. A representative of the local authority within whose jurisdiction the factory is to be established, and i.e. not more than 3 other persons as deemed fit by the state government. 2. The Site Appraisal Committee shall examine an application for the establishment of a factory involving hazardous process and make its recommendation to the state government within a period of 90 days of the receipt of such application in the prescribed form. 3. Where any process relates to a factory owned or controlled by the central government or to a corporation or a company owned or controlled by the central government, the state government shall co-opt in the Site Appraisal Committee a representative nominated by the central government as a member of that committee. 4. The Site Appraisal Committee shall have power to call for any information from the person making an application for the establishment or expansion of a factory involving a hazardous process. 5. Where the state government has granted approval to an application for the establishment or expansion of a factory involving a hazardous process, it shall not be necessary for an applicant to obtain a further approval from the Central Board or the State Board established under the Water, Prevention and Control of Pollution, Act 1974, 6 of 1974, and the Air, Prevention and Control of Pollution, Act 1981, 14 of 1981. 41b. Compulsory disclosure of information by the occupier. 1. The occupier of every factory involving a hazardous process shall disclose in the manner prescribed all information regarding dangers, including health hazards and the measures to overcome such hazards arising from the exposure to or handling of the materials or substances in the manufactures, transportation, storage and other processes, to the workers employed in the factory, the chief inspector, the local authority within whose jurisdiction the factory is situate and the general public in the vicinity. 2. The occupier shall, at the time of registering the factory involving a hazardous process, lay down a detailed policy with respect to the health and safety of the workers employed therein and intimate such policy to the chief inspector and the local authority and, thereafter, at such intervals as may be prescribed, inform the chief inspector and the local authority of any change made in the said policy. 3. The information furnished under subsection 1 shall include accurate information as to the quantity, specification and other characteristics of wastes and the manner of their disposal. 4. Every occupier shall, with the approval of the chief inspector, draw up an on-site emergency plan and detailed disaster control measures for his factory and make known to the workers employed therein and to the general public living in the vicinity of the factory the safety measures required to be taken in the event of an accident taking place. 5. Every occupier of a factory shall A. If such factory engaged in a hazardous process on the commencement of the Factories Amendment Act 1987, 20 of 1987, within a period of 30 days of such commencement, and B. If such factory proposes to engage in a hazardous process at any time after such commencement within a period of 30 days before the commencement of such process, inform the Chief Inspector of the nature and details of the process in such form and in such manner as may be prescribed. 6. Where any occupier of a factory contravenes the provisions of subsection 5, the license issued under section 6 to such factory shall, notwithstanding any penalty to which the occupier or factory shall be subjected to under the provisions of this act, be liable for cancellation. 7. The occupier of a factory involving a hazardous process shall, with the previous approval of the Chief Inspector, lay down measures for the handling, usage, transportation and storage of hazardous substances inside the factory premises and the disposal of such substances outside the factory premises and publicize them in the manner prescribed among the workers and the general public living in the vicinity.